Hello, today I'm going to be reviewing this Ninja 72 ounce countertop blender. I've had this for like 6 years now, 7 years. And so I'll go over the pros and cons of this as well as any secret tips that I've learned along the way. So first off, I'll actually demonstrate this in use, but you could see the back is really nice that it has this little thing here to store the cord away, so you don't just have this loose cord. I have juicers and other things, and the cords are all just hanging out, and so it's really nice that this keeps it contained. The cord is pretty short though. You could see that's about as long as it is, which is like 3 feet or so. So you have to use this next to an outlet. It's pretty easy to use on the top. So you have this little pour spout here, which can lock, close, or open. And then to open it, you press this release button that lifts the handle, and then you can take it off. The blender itself is really simple. There's just this little spinning piece here, which is very sharp. If you clean this by hand, just be careful not to cut yourself. And then it has like the little star sign at the bottom, and that just goes right in there. So easy to fit. Once you drop it in, just give it a little twist to make sure that it's good. I like that it has ounces and cups on here so you can see how much you're making. And then obviously to turn it on, you press power. You can do pulse, low, medium, high. So I'm just gonna throw these things in real quick, and then I'll show you how it works. Okay, so I'm back. This isn't an official recipe or anything like that. I don't know how it's gonna end up tasting, but I added 8 ounces of the coconut milk, unsweetened, and then I added the strawberries and a banana. Now the banana I broke up into 3 pieces, and then the strawberries, some of them I left whole. So like this one right here, I left that one whole. But the bigger ones I did slice up just because it will blend faster if I do that. Whereas if I don't, there's a higher chance of chunks being in there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close the lip here just so we don't get any splatter. And then if I put that on here, you see it doesn't close. You have to actually lift this up to get it in and then push that all the way closed. The handle is really nice. I would say it's really good for grabbing this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. I'm gonna just pulse a few times because I have the big chunks, and then I'll just turn it on low. This is kind of loud, not to the point where you need headphones or anything like that, but if you have dogs or children that are affected by loud noises, then you probably wanna move them out of the area before you do this. So after that, then I'm just gonna put it on low, which is pretty much what I did. Usually this is just for quick things like that to get the chunks broken up, but I'm gonna put it on low for a little bit to get some of the chunks. I'm gonna put it on medium and then high, and then medium and low, just because I like to cycle up and down as opposed to jumping to high right off the bat. That's just something that I do. You don't need to, this can handle it, but I think by cycling up and then down, it's better on the mechanical components and the motor and stuff like that. So there you go. You could see there are still some chunks in there, some seeds as well. That's kind of to be expected with a blender, right? Because the seeds and the chunks can't actually go anywhere. If that's something that you don't like, then you have to juice them first and then put the juice in here. But I don't mind the chunks. I think typically the rule is blend fruits, juice vegetables. But again, if you don't like the seeds or anything like that, you can always do that. Okay, so I just grabbed 2 cups to show how easy it is to pour. One thing I will point out, this has a 1,000-watt base, and so this can pretty much handle everything. I have put ice in here. I don't typically just because I don't like super cold smoothies. But if you're gonna make something in the morning and you want it to last all day, that is something you can do. It can handle big ice cubes, but if you can do crushed ice, I think that's probably better for the blade overall. The 72 ounces is great for parties or big groups, things like that. And then another nice thing about this is it's incredibly easy to clean. So I have a juicer, for example, that you have to hand wash everything. And so it's like, as soon as you use it, you have to wash it by hand. Otherwise, the pieces are going to get stained and they're going to get gunk on them, and it's much harder to handle. With this, you can just give it a rinse and then put it in the dishwasher, and it's fine in there. So I didn't really demonstrate this, but all you have to do is just twist to get it off, and then if you want to lock it, you just twist it back. There's a bit of a click there that you can hear, which is nice so that you know that it's actually locked. It won't actually run, so if you have it unlocked and you try and press the buttons, it's not going to run. What I do, though, is I always unplug it when I'm not using it, just in case. You never know. I've never had anything happen, but considering the high speeds and the blades, it's not worth the risk to me. So some of the cons for this is, the size can be a pro or a con, just because this is 72 ounces, so you can make a lot in here, right? I'm not making a whole lot. I put 8 ounces of juice, a couple of strawberries, and a banana, and I've got about 3 cups worth in here. But if you don't usually drink this much, then this is going to be a big unit. So size is kind of a pro and a con. Most of the time I'm not making 72 ounces for big groups, but I'm always taking up this space, right? So just depending on how you look at it. Like I mentioned, it is kind of noisy. It's not the noisiest thing that I have, but if you have pets or animals, like I said, you might want to clear them out of the area before you use this. Some secret tips, I kind of pointed this out just without actually saying it out loud, but I like to add the liquid first before you blend, just because what'll happen is that will act as a good base for everything to mix. If you're doing peanut butter or something like that, what I found is put the liquid in first and then put the peanut butter and then put the fruit on top, just because the peanut butter will stick on things. It'll stick on the blade. And if you put the fruit in after, you can kind of scrape the peanut butter off, get it down to the bottom, and then that way it mixes better. That's something that you're going to have with pretty much every blender, not exclusive to this one. And then I mentioned this with the juicer that I have. It's a really good idea to rinse this after the fact, just so that you don't run the risk of it being dirty after you put it in the dishwasher or whatever. So it pours really smooth. That's what I like about this, is it does have the pouring opening here. Sorry, it's kind of hard to show this with one hand. But overall, it's a really great blender. Like I said, I've had it for like 6 or 7 years now. I don't know how often I use it because I'll go through spurts, right? Usually in the summer, I'm really keen on making some smoothies for the hot day. But in the wintertime, I don't use it a whole lot. So I'd say it's gotten mixed usage throughout the seasons over the years. But overall, it's really good. I'll give that a try. Yep. It's pretty good. It's really thick. Depending on how thick or not you like it, you could add more liquid or not. But I think this is the right amount of thickness for me. Anyways, this can't go in the wash, so this I'll just store back under the cabinet, and then this I'll just give it a quick rinse, throw the pieces in the dishwasher, and then I'll be done. So really simple to clean up. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for you, and thank you for watching.